drum.
Listen, I'm going to tell you real quick that I'm slowly going to start probably just doing one show a day. This is my second one for the day. I'm probably slowly going to ease back and just do one show a day. I'm going to try to make it a really good one. My goal here is quality content, not quantity. I'm going to try to put together one really, really fantastic episode a day for you guys, unless there's some breaking news going on. But got me in the mood. I was actually going to do that today, just one episode. But yesterday, I talked about my two favorite players in this past NFL draft for the Detroit Lions. I talked about Sione Vaki last night, and I said, flip a coin. The day could change who's going to be my favorite. Today, I'm flipping that coin, and it landed on Mekhi Wingo. Now, bear with me. I'm going to be giving you guys a lot of information. I'm going to say some things, and I'm going to show you some stuff that's going to back it up. So I'm going to be doing a lot of screen sharing, so bear with me while I get into it. It might take me a second to get each tab up that I need to show you guys. But first and foremost, let's just start with Mekhi Wingo. I know I did an episode on him about a week ago, and I used a thumbnail not even comparing him to Aaron Donald, just the physique and size that I was talking about when it came to Mekhi Wingo and Aaron Donald. I thought there was a lot of stat-wise similarities between the two when it comes to like physicality and how they're built. A lot of people twisted my words. That seems to be happening a lot lately. I was not saying Mekhi Wingo is going to be Aaron Donald. I hope so. We'll find out maybe in like 3 or 4 years if maybe I was onto a little something. But let's get in and look at this Detroit Lions depth chart first. Mekhi Wingo is going to absolutely fly up this depth chart. I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to prove it to you. Look, as you can see right here, go away. Mekhi Wingo right here. He's listed as 3rd string. But let's look at who's in front of him. Let's just take a peek. Like, this is according to ESPN. I didn't put this out. You can see that it's an ESPN tab. Who's in front of Mekhi Wingo? Who's going to be his competition to move up in the depth chart for more reps? Levi Onwuzurike and Broderick Martin. Question marks about both of them. Now, look, I'm not closing the door or closing the book on Levi Onwuzurike. And when it comes to Broderick Martin, Brad Holmes has said that he's going to be a quote-unquote project player. Projects take time. I don't think it's going to be a project that's done in 1 year. Do I hope to see Broderick Martin more, at least in pads and getting on the field? Yes. If it were me right now today, I would flip-flop Broderick Martin and Mekhi Wingo and put Mekhi in that 2nd string spot over Levi Onwuzurike. Just because I have some questions about his availability, his health, what's going on. He had that fusion surgery. He's always got some back problems going on. Those things linger, man. They can kill careers. Just look at Haloti Vaitai. Like, it just happens. I'm not closing the book. I'm not saying that, stuff doesn't happen. If you believe in, I don't want to call it a miracle, but, something can happen with Levi and he could bounce back. But if it were me today, I would put Mekhi Wingo in that 2nd string spot. And if I had to replace someone, it would probably be Levi Onwuzurike. Now, again, I'm not closing the door on either one of them. I'm not writing them off or anything like that. But I just think Mekhi Wingo was the absolute steal for the Detroit Lions when it comes to value. And let's just get into some more stuff here. Let me bring it up. Bear with me, guys. Let's look at why I think that. And I'm going to show you some factual stuff, and I'm going to really try to hammer home on this. Let's look at some of the top defensive tackles from this year's draft. 10-yard split. Mekhi Wingo had the fastest 4-yard split. Why is this important? That is the measurement when these players are running their 40-yard dash. It's a measurement of how fast they run the first 10 yards. The first 10 yards for a defensive tackle or any defensive lineman, within 10 yards, you're that close to the quarterback. 1.64 seconds. If there's a miscommunication on the offensive line and they're not picking up the right guy, like a Mekhi Wingo, who absolutely flies and has some athleticism as well as some power. Like, this is a big guy that's moving very, very fast for 6 foot, 200 and almost 90 pounds. I think he's 6 foot, 284. So he's a big physical freak. Let's look at some more stuff. Actually, let's go up a little bit. 40-yard dash, 4.85 seconds. Look at who he's between. Look at who he's between right here. He's the 2nd fastest defensive tackle. Braden Fisk, one of my favorite players from this past draft. I was very, 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 very high on him. You guys can go check me if you don't believe me. Braden Fisk was one of my favorite players from Florida State. Went to the 2nd round of the Rams. We're going to see him in week 1. Look who went after him, or who was Right behind him in the 40-yard dash, Byron Murphy from Texas, who was drafted in the top 20, I believe like 16 or something like that, to Seattle. Right in between there is a 6th-round pick who has the second fastest 40-yard dash time and the fastest 10-yard split. Let's keep going. What else do we got here? Oh, there he is again in the vertical jump in the top 7 with some guys like Braden Fisk, Byron Murphy, Ruka Roa, who's an absolute freak, who a lot of people were knocking the Falcons draft for taking him in the 2nd round, but I would have been okay with the Lions taking him in the 2nd round. Like, we're talking about Mekhi Wingo here, who was a 6th-round pick and was in most of the major categories this past draft in the top 3, top 7 when it comes to that category. Like, we got an absolute steal. Mekhi Wingo's draft card, his on NFL.com, if you go there and do just a quick Google search on Mekhi Wingo NFL Combine, it'll bring you up his draft card. I talked about this, and I'm feeling more and more confident as the day goes by. They gave him a prospect grade of 6.19 and the title of good backup with potential to develop into a starter. How soon does that happen? I feel like that's going to happen year 1. I feel like year 1, we're going to see solid playing time. Again, I'm not trying to write anyone off on this Detroit Lions team. I know Brad Holmes has a very tough job to do. He's got to make some big cuts. We're going to be cutting guys that are going to go to other teams and get on their probably active 53-man roster. I feel like that's how deep we are, and we just don't have room. You can only keep 53 guys. I don't know who that's going to be. We're going to find out here in about a month and a half when final cuts come out, 2 months, something like that, right before the season starts. I think we're like exactly 60 days away from the first NFL game for the – isn't that absolutely wild? Like, I just can't wait. So, guys, I had to touch up on Mekhi Wingo. It got me in the mood last night when I was talking about Sione Vaki. I said, man, Sione Vaki, Mekhi Wingo, my 2 favorite draft picks. Right now, my favorite draft pick, just based on where we got him, how he performed at the Combine, where he's at on the depth chart, and how the Detroit Lions roster is kind of shaped up. I really see Mekhi Wingo taking that step and going from that 3rd string to that 2nd string. And then if an injury or something happens, DJ Reader, he's got that quad. He might have to miss a game or 2. There's nothing wrong with that. We've got guys who can step in and fill that role. If Lee McNeil has to go out, if he has something going on, I think he did something to his foot or something last year, if I remember right. If he has to miss a game, we could throw in Mekhi Wingo. NFL is a big boy league. There's injuries. There's boo-boos. You're going to get a little bump and bruise here and there. It's just the way it is. And we're built to sustain and have contingency plans for these injuries. That's all I was saying. And that's kind of what I meant yesterday when I was talking about Sione Vaki. I never once said that he was going to be a 2-way starter and play wide receiver, running back, special teams. No, I think he's going to primarily be a special teamer. And in certain situations, there's a contingency plan for a Sione Vaki to get into a game based on injuries that I don't want to see. I don't cheer for injuries by no means do I cheer for any injury, especially for the Detroit Lions. I don't cheer for injuries when it comes to the opposing team. I want to beat every single team while they're at their best. No excuses. That's why we watch football, for competition. If one of the best players in the league goes out and the Detroit Lions are facing them, it kind of takes away the satisfaction of a great win if we're not facing the other team's best, in my opinion. So back on Mekhi Wingo, guys, I think he's going to go from that 3rd string to that 2nd string spot. And knowing that DJ Reader, I don't want to say he has an injury history, but he's got that quad problem. He's a big boy. Like, he's not a young pup anymore. And I do think he's one of the best free agent signings the Detroit Lions have had in a long time. So I'm not trying to put down DJ Reader by any means. So don't be twisting my words again, guys. But if something happens and they have to miss some time, I really, really think Mekhi Wingo is going to be the first guy into that first team rotation. That's just how I feel. Guys, leave a comment down below. If you have a different opinion, that's fine. I showed you where Mekhi Wingo is on the depth chart. I showed you some combine stuff. He's in the top of a lot of categories, and we got him in the 6th round. Guys, I think we got an absolute steal. I think we're looking at another thing like a Amon-Ra St. Brown in the 4th round, just an absolute stud. I think in a couple years, you guys will be saying, dang, Steve Perkins might know a little something. Leave it in the comments, guys. Hit that like button. Stick around. I'll be back later with another show.